Now, we are now going live on Facebook. And you, oh, you do not have permission to live stream. All right, enough. I don't care anymore. Well, to my slides. One second. Are you guys seeing the slides? All right, so you guys can all see the slides. All right, let's get this thing kicked off. Welcome everyone to this week's 1MillionCups Fairfax. Today is August 13th. We are really happy to have everyone here. We appreciate you all coming in. If someone, by the way, just side note, if someone else can take care of admitting people, if you've come in as an organizer, that would be wonderful. Thank you so much. My name is James Lawson from Impact Business Solutions. I am one of the organizers here at 1MillionCups in Fairfax. And yes, we are really happy that you have decided to join us. So if you don't know anything about 1MillionCups, we are part of what we call the Kaufman Foundation. They work with communities in entrepreneurship and education to increase opportunities that allow all people to learn, to take risks, and to own their own success. And there are multiple Fairfax 1MillionCups editions all over the US, as you will soon see, but we are one of them. So national and local mission is we work toward this mission through creating a consistent educational experience for each of the 1MC presenters nationwide, while also highlighting the uniqueness and value proposition in each local startup community. So there are hundreds of 1MillionCups all happening all at the same time at 9 a.m. on a Wednesday, all sharing coffee, all giving guidance to our presenters. Now, like most organizations, we do have our key pillars. Ours are its presentations, not pitches, right? We're not here to give out money. If you want money, just call John Rutenberg himself and he'll sort you out. We look for authentic connections, not networking. So we look at ourselves more as a collective or a mastermind group to help our presenters through whatever challenge that they have. We are run for the community, by the community. We're all volunteers. No one's on a paid gig here, so we all chip in, again, as you'll see in a little bit. And we are radically and intentionally inclusive. So we do have some visitors in the room, and so we're going to ask you to raise your hand, and we will ask you to give us your name, your company name, and how you heard about us. So I'm going to go Sarah. Sarah, we spoke earlier. If you would like to make yourself known to the room and tell us a little about yourself.
Sure. Hi, everybody. My name is Sarah Miller. I own Tree Star Hypnosis. I'm a hypnotherapist, and I heard about this group through the Fairfax Chamber of Commerce. So really excited to be here. Thank you.
Glad to have you here. Do you have anyone else that is new?
We have Alaya.
Alaya, speak.
Hey, good morning, everyone. My name is Alia. I am with Apple Federal Credit Union. I am their VP of Commercial Business Services. And so I heard about this through, first of all, we participate, I guess, in 1MillionCups, but in Prince William. But I heard about the Fairfax one from the Ruston Chamber. So I'm excited to see what this is about. And I've heard a lot of good things.
Well, glad you could join us, Alia. Who else do we have? Is Sina, are you new? Is that not a name familiar to me?
Good morning. No, I've been here multiple times.
Have you? Okay, then my apologies. All right. Okay, let's move on now. So if you could do this, you're going to see there's a QR code on your screen. Feel free to go and scan the QR code and check yourself in. This helps the 1MillionCups community see which of the chapters, if you will, how we're doing in terms of attendance, etc. It also gives our fearful leader, Jen Dalton, some ammunition to go and ask for some good swag, which is always, always useful. If you don't catch it this time, guys, don't worry. We will get another chance to catch it later on in the presentation. So as I said earlier, this is run by the community for the community, and the names and faces that you see on the screen right now are the organizers of this. Nothing happens in a vacuum. Nothing happens on its own. We all chip in at various levels to make these things happen each and every week, right? Which is no small task, but these are the people. And we also have a couple of I call it sponsors, if you will. Veterans Growing America is one, and the Fairfax County Economic Development Authority. Try saying that fast. And you can get all the information you want again on the little QR code in the bottom right-hand corner. So we have two sponsors, none of which are here. Amy's not here, and we don't have Jen to talk about Mason Enterprise Centre. So if anyone else wants to jump in and talk about them, feel free. But those are two big sponsors. So 48 Blocks Fine Candy is our coffee sponsor. So just so you know, every month we invite someone to come along and be a coffee sponsor for that particular month. And Amy Hughes at 48 Blocks Fine Candy is this month. Now, the Fairfax Enterprise Centre, just a little bit, they are an incubator for businesses based in Fairfax. I will call it the guy that runs that, the guy called Eddie Hill, and you can contact Eddie through the email address there if you want to know more about them. But really interesting place, and that's where Milanee is actually sitting right now. Yeah, very cool. So a little bit about how this meeting is going to work. A couple of things. We are going to move into, once Milanee does her presentation, we are going to move into a Q&A session. During her talk, her presentation, we ask that you keep yourself muted so we don't get any feedback or any noise disturbing us. When we get to the Q&A, we're going to ask that you keep your questions concise and to the point and on task with the challenge question. You can ask, obviously, clarifying questions if you want, if something wasn't clear during the presentation, all good. But yeah, it's we're here to support and give guidance to our presenter, and that's what we're going to do. So, with all that being said, Milanee, I'm going to come over to you. Now, as you go through your presentation, just tell me, say, next slide, and I will move to your next slide. So you don't have, you just focus on your content, my dear. I'll handle the slides. So welcome. Okay. Introduce yourself.
Thank you. My name is Milanee Stevens. I am a Fortune 20 product strategist. I've worked for over 20 years in the tech industry and financial services, leading product strategy. And I'm quite passionate about strategy and product development in general. In 2024, I left my corporate position to found my own company. And I have 3 dogs, and I've spent a lot of money on pet supplies. And I was always frustrated by the poor quality, the single use of pet products. And so I decided to create my own pet brand that fused multifunctional capability with technology. And I named that brand Snugglebones. And I bootstrapped that brand. So it was self-funded. And I created everything, the goal to market strategy, my business plan, everything. I collaborated with manufacturers, worked with designers to build products. And what I wasn't aware of was the complexity of manufacturing. It is very complex. And in addition to manufacturing, there's also tariffs and the average customer acquisition costs. And those items were extremely complex moving into a completely different industry. At the same time, I was consulting for small business government contractors in Virginia who were interested in diversification and R&D. And through both of those experiences, I saw the complexity of small businesses. And there is a dearth of information from consulting, management consulting companies, outlining strategy across industries. There's market data, industry data that exists to help small businesses make more strategic decisions. And one day I thought, what if I took my product background, my strategy background, and created a platform for small businesses like myself, as well as, like, say, government contractors who are used to working in a single, market, and they are looking for diversification, but they don't know how to initiate that. So my challenge question is essentially, how do I get my first 100? Oh, I didn't introduce my product. So my product is called Innovurs.AI. Based on my professional background and my desire to help small businesses, I created an AI platform that offers strategic frameworks, industry data, and roadmaps to help small businesses achieve strategy and clarity and growth from ideation to maturity. And for that, my challenge question is, how do I get my first 100 users on my way to 500 users to prove product market fit? So what I've done thus far is create a prototype. And I think we're backwards, but I'll just keep going. So what I've done thus far for Innovurs.AI is to create a prototype, and that prototype offers two use cases. It is, I am considering a new business and I need to validate my ideas, and I also need a strategic plan. And then it is, I am a small business and I'm looking for growth and diversification. And I really need to have a streamlined strategy and a practical roadmap, execution roadmap to achieve that. So my timeline for my company is, what year was I founded? I was founded in 2024. Again, I created Snuggle Bones through my company, Pragmatic IQ. And then I'm doing business as Innovurs.AI as of this year. So I created Snuggle Bones as a separate product, a separate brand. And then this technology platform was created this year, and this is what I'm looking to launch. When do I anticipate going live? I anticipate going live in January 2026, and that would be for the MVP. I am in prototype right now, and that is beta. I have users, both small businesses and startup founders, who are test users of the platform, and they have given me requirements, and I'm working through that prototype pre-MVP phase to prove product market fit. And so I anticipate this prototype beta phase to last until the end of the year, and then January going live with the MVP in the United States. So we can go to the next slide. And what problems does Innovurs.AI solve? And again, it's lack of business planning. So a lot of startup founders lack strategy, awareness, and also some founders have strategy and they're good at it, but there's a lot of noise and they have many different options that they're choosing from. The Innovurs.AI platform provides cohesive, streamlined, strategic ideas for founders and businesses. And when you log into the platform, it gives three ideas. The founder or small business would outline, tell me about your business. What are some challenges you're facing? And based on that information, the platform will provide a SWOT analysis. It will go through Porter's 5 standard management consulting strategy frameworks, and then it will identify industries that will help the small business to diversify and also new market entry. And then the platform will also provide metrics to help the small business owner make more strategic, informed decisions. So it also helps with a lack of profit from planning to execution, and then a lack of growth plans for scaling. And we can go to the next slide. And the value proposition of Innovurs is to offer growth and profit strategy and action plans generated by AI, due diligence from initial plans through execution, and then roadmap execution plans. My ideal customer is small business owners who are less than or equal to 25 employees and government contractors. And then my unique value proposition, all other platforms in the market right now focus on the standard management consulting, idea validation, and strategy formulation. Innovurs provides idea validation, strategy formulation, and then it also provides road mapping. So here's a practical guide, short-term, midterm, and long-term, to help guide you through that strategy. So it is practical strategic action plans. And then what differentiates Innovurs is all of the solutions in the market offer a one-size-fits-all solution. It's a kind of a canned template. Innovurs takes the custom personalized information for a business or an idea, and then it puts that information through a data channel, a data model, and then it uses AI to offer personalization, recommendation, and industry specific, market specific metrics and action plans. Next slide, please. And please describe how revenue is generated. So I'm not at the point of charging for Innovurs yet. I am planning to offer tier subscription models, free, individual, and pro tiers, and then enterprise licensing for startup incubators who would like to use Innovurs for idea validation and strategy formulation. And next slide, please. And again, my target audience is small businesses, small business owners who are less than or equal to 25 employees, government contractors who have lost their business as of this year because of Doge. And then the companies that I believe can partner with Innovurs would be startup incubators, local federal government, small business agencies, educational institutions, and then companies offering complementary software as a service solutions. And right now I'm using LinkedIn and cold email outreach. I'm leveraging the information from the government databases to identify government contractors who have lost their contracts as of this year as my, initial outreach. And next slide, please. And again, the competitors in this industry are Startup Tools.ai, Ventures.ai, and Wazuku. And all three of these solutions, the first two offer, again, standard management consulting, idea validation, and strategy. And then Wazuku offers more of what Innovurs provides, but at an enterprise level. So Wazuku is comprehensive. It's idea validation, strategic frameworks, and practical execution from ideation to, rollout and maturity. And the next slide, please. How might I leverage competitors? I do not yet know. I'm not further enough along to know how I can leverage my competitors as business opportunities. And next slide, please. And back to the challenge question, how do I get my first 100 users on my way to 500 to prove product market fit? And so right now, I think I've had about 10 or 15 between 10 to 15 users on my platform. I just launched it in July. And so it's very new. And I've had 10 to 15 users in the last few weeks in the beta prototype phase. I'm taking their requirements and I am putting them into a Kanban board. So that is a little bit about Innovurs, and I believe my time is up.
Okay.
Awesome stuff, Milanee. Thank you so much. Right, we're going to move into the Q&A section. Melinda, would you be kind enough to make sure to keep everyone under control? And if you wish to ask a question, you can use the raise hand icon. You got your hand up there, John Rutenberg?
I think, aren't I the
Oh, are you doing it? Oh, very cool. John, sorry, my apologies. My apologies. So if you have a question, raise your hand and John will call you over.
Great. In a minute, Melinda. So, Milanee, thank you, number one. Appreciate great presentation. My advice to you as questions and suggestions are made is to give very short answers, which gives more people more time to ask questions, insights, and maybe make connections for you. Remember, it's all recorded, so you don't have to take big notes and worry that you missed something. And again, thank you. So please, people, raise your hands. Keep your questions short. I'll go to Melinda, then James.
Milanee, I love your product.
Thank you.
I'm using AI, and for people that don't have a marketing background, it's brilliant.
Thank you.
And I want to talk to you more later, but I wrote down a lot of stuff. I'm just going to jump to my biggest idea. You've defined all the different groups. You've done a great job saying incubators, startups, small business owners, et cetera, business. I wrote down a list of stuff. And what I'm thinking is you want these folks maybe where you're going to set up some focus groups, but by industry. So you might have an incubator group and you might have 10 people in that group that will agree to answer questions and talk about things. And some of these people may become your board of directors or something else later.
Love that.
I think it would be just right on the money where you could get everybody to do things. And I'd like to be one of the folks that we talk to.
Thank you.
Focus groups would be a great way just to go to that next generation with everybody.
Excellent.
Thank you, Melinda.
James. Then I've got Maria and John Foster.
Mine is more a clarification question, Milanee. Like I'm guessing many people on the call right now, we're all using AI at some level, right? Some of us go really deep, others not so much. Can you give me as succinct as possible, like a real world application for your system? Like how would it go from start to finish? Just so I get a sense of like, I'm trying to piece it together. So
yes, thank you for asking that question because I wanted to provide a real world example. So I have a founder that I worked with. They have a physiotherapy center in Woodbridge, Virginia, and they offer cryotherapy. They offer several different health therapies in Woodbridge, and they are not receiving any new customers. So they're struggling financially. They have heavy debt, and they are struggling to make those debt payments. They have a line of credit, and I put their business case into Innovurs. I sat with them and worked with them to put their business case in Innovurs, outlining just a bio of the business and the challenge. They're struggling with new businesses. So what Innovurs did was number one, identify their location isn't ideal. They're in a gym. They need to be in a standalone. But number two, it provided recommendations to partner with physical therapists, chiropractors, and other specialists in Woodbridge to have that referral traffic come in. So establishing better marketing through partnerships. The third thing it did was say that the current price model of $5,000 per package is too high for the Woodbridge market. So consider a tiered pricing model where they can have various pricing for their packages so that it would attract more customers coming into their business. And then for new market entry to consider, it said that they should consider mobile as an option for other areas who would want to have some of their services, but may not necessarily want to come into Woodbridge. And then it provided 3 recommendations, and that's what I have as set at right now, only to provide 3 for the prototype phase. And then it offered short-term, midterm, and long-term roadmap for how that business could increase growth, increase customer attraction, increase sales within a short-term, midterm, long-term. Long-term, it said it should consider moving out of where it's currently
Sure.
located. So
Right.
that's a practical application.
So basically, take an issue, feed it into the system. The system's going to create a short-term, mid-term, long-term strategic plan. Like that's what,
Yes.
along with recommendations. Like this is what it's doing.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then there's another business that is a government contractor. They were interested in R&D and diversification that I consulted with. For that business, it said to consider more new market entry. So moving outside of government contracting into the private sector, because that business also specializes in AI. So it gave a strategy for how to enter into the private sector, and then what potential R&D products they could offer. And then again, a long-term roadmap, short-term, midterm, long-term. So your short-term, this is how you would execute that. So those are the 2 examples.
Awesome. Thanks, Mike. That is very, very helpful. Thank you.
Great. Maria, then John, and then Melinda's up. Maria.
Thank you so much for your presentation, Milanee. I'm super excited
Sure.
because I definitely need your help. A few things come in mind, but I'm just going to start with a couple. I think that based on what I've seen before your presentation, I couldn't visualize what you can provide. So I was thinking, just like you mentioned, your case study, I think that having some probably video demonstration or even just you talking, face talk, what is it, talk face videos would be
Yeah.
helpful.
Yeah.
Just demonstrating what we don't know. AI, as much as we think that we're using it, we
Scratching the
probably
surface.
not even scratching. We're just grazing it with our fingertips.
Yeah.
So I think that educational videos of what the platform can do can be helpful. And just candid as you've been in the show, sharing that case for it would be more than enough. Nothing too formal, just pain point.
Thank you.
And one more thing, getting into not only focus groups but a larger audience doing it would help industry. I know that business coaches will really help now with the new changes. There are groups that are supporting Dutch retirees, and they could help, just reach out to them and get in front of them, but not one by one. Do workshops, do a workshop, call them in, leverage LinkedIn. Hey, have you been dodged? Create some, go with the pain points as well.
I'm going to jump to John Foster, then we have Karen, Greg, and then Melinda.
Great. Thank you, John. Well, Milanee, I love what you're doing.
Thank you.
I guess my question is this your full-time thing?
Yes.
Is it? Okay. Because in looking at LinkedIn, of course, I always appreciate Maria's feedback with regards to LinkedIn, but that needs to be clarified because I think you will find a lot of help there, because of the platform, because the LinkedIn platform. So if you get that messaging that this is what you're doing and start to Maria's point, that education process, I think you're going to get a lot more, you'll get quite a bit of leverage from a LinkedIn perspective by getting this story out there.
Okay.
So but I absolutely love what you're doing. It is so necessary from across the board. I mean, here at 1 Million Cups and people who have, the point made as far as Doge goes and the people who are coming out of government, they're potentially looking for something else to do. This could be a great tool to help that. So thank you so much for what you're doing.
Thank you.
Excellent. Karen.
Hello, good morning. Thank you very much for your presentation.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask a little bit, and I apologize if I missed this because I came in a little late. Can you tell me more about the idea validation part of what's going on in your
Sure.
product? And like, how do you get the information that you feed into AI? Because I know AI is only as good as what we put into it.
Yes. That is a great question. So, number one, the idea validation, what I wanted to do with this platform is to make it personal and personalized. And so, when a person goes into that platform, it asks three questions. Tell me about your professional background. Number two, do you have any interests or hobbies? And then number three, it asks the third question, where are you located? And so for myself, I will give you an example. For myself, last year I started a pet brand. Initially, I had the idea of creating a smart app for pets. I talked myself out of that. And I said that manufacturing would be easier, even though my background is tech. And I thought that I could scale manufacturing at a lower cost and I could sell on Amazon, Walmart, and my e-commerce platform. That ended up costing me substantially more money than this platform has in the prototype phase because I know tech. I've spent 20 years building tech. I know strategy, I know tech, I know how to work with a development team, I know full stack platforms. And so what I realize is that a lot of founders have expertise that can help them from a startup perspective that we often talk ourselves out of. And I went and did some research by looking up Reddit, for example, and there's a lot of customers, I mean, a lot of founders who have great ideas. We just talk ourselves out of it. And so, what I did with the idea validation was to ask three core questions. And then I use BLS data, I use economic data, I use industry data, all publicly available data on the internet to assess the opportunities, the market value, and then also some metrics that startup founders don't consider, like average customer acquisition costs, manufacturing costs, et cetera, to make those idea decisions. So that is what feeds into the engine.
I'm going to jump now to Greg, then Melinda, then Maria.
Hey, Melanie. So first of all, I love the presentation,
Thank you.
I just really want to just appreciate the entrepreneurial mindset that you've brought to this.
Thank
and you are thinking from at least my perspective. You've given yourself runway. You've given yourself, a lot of space to kind of figure this out. And I love that you're testing.
Thank you.
A couple things that come to mind: the lock versus the key. Are you familiar with that from Seth Godin?
I am not.
So and I'm not saying you're off. I'm just kind of giving you a little bit of a metaphor to use.
Mm-hmm.
We often, as business owners, we go into the basement, we go into our shed, we go into our workshop, and we build a key, right? We build this key, and then we go out to the market and we say, "I've got a key for your lock. I've got a key. Buy my key, or you try my key." And everybody's like, "Well, that doesn't fit my lock." And so, what we need to do is, instead of building the key first, we need to investigate a lot of locks, and then go fashion the key and test, right? Hey, I think I have a key that might work for you. Test it, and then go back and refashion. And I think you're in that process. That's why it came up. I think you're in this prototype process, and you want to see if you have a product market fit. So I think kudos on that approach. As far as gaining more users, which I think is right where you need to be. Obviously you're not charging for this. So, I would say, and the easiest way you can share it, right? And so I tried to go to your website, but the page, either the link didn't work or it didn't come up. I don't know if you spoke about that in your presentation, but I don't know where to go and try it. And so if it's back-end access where you have to share that, That's
There's
fine.
a link. I can share it in the chat right now, or after this call, I can share it with everyone. But the link is there. If you go to my LinkedIn profile, it is
Yep.
also in the features section of my LinkedIn profile as well.
Okay. And then as far as your product design, I like that you're personalizing it. We had an AI presentation for small business a couple weeks ago, and I wanted to just bring up I think the biggest challenge that any entrepreneur in this space is going to have is building trust into the system, right? And so how does the system, how do I begin to trust this system over my judgment or the judgment of a mentor or someone that has already done this? And I don't know what the solution is for that. But I think that is probably the biggest hurdle that whatever you're doing in this stage, you're going to want to figure out. And maybe you've already thought of that. Maybe not. I don't know if I've heard it presented. Is how do you build trust? And strategy, I mean, I work in strategy. And what I find often is that I can give the right answer to the client, but if I don't actually help that client break through whatever limiting belief they have or whatever limitation they have internally, then the strategy, no matter what great strategy I present to them, they're not going to execute on it. And so I don't know if your system will address that problem, or maybe because it's so objective, there'll be less resistance. But that's another area I would encourage you to kind of look in on. Those are my comments.
So thank you for your comments. There are three things that you mentioned. Number one is trust. And that is critical to the platform and what I'm doing. And that is precisely why it's going through a prototype phase right now. And so what we're doing is evaluating the output of the responses and then making sure that those outputs are sound based on the publicly available frameworks, based on high authority sources, et cetera. So we're going through and doing that due diligence. And then the second thing would be to objectivity. And so one of the benefits of the platform is I'm a researcher by nature. I spent 20 years, working in strategy and product for corporations that was all grounded in science and data. And so every user of the platform will see that data represented. And again, it is from high authority sources such as economic databases, and that information is linked and cited. And so it's very important that we maintain that. But thank you for your feedback, and I agree with everything you're saying.
Great. Melinda, and I know that Maria's hand was up if she would like to after.
So some of the other things that I jotted down were areas you could go. And I think one of the best areas, you're here right now, 1 Million Cups. This would be a phenomenal tool and we'd like you as an organizer.
Thank
Little
you.
pitch. But I really think that and we could be a group that beta tests it for you, and then you could
Thank
take
you.
it to corporate. I also wrote down SBDCs in all the different cities that work with all these folks. What a great tool to have there. And since you're starting here, one of the best tools that I've found in this market is the business journal, the book of lists. You're going to find a lot of different groups. And if you're a subscriber, you get that list, you get all the contact information, and you can call some of these companies directly. So I'll put that in the chat.
Thank you.
But I'll just stop and let the next person go.
Thank
Before I
you.
turn to Maria and then Karen, Milanee, please do meet Art Conroy, who presented a couple of weeks ago, who has another product, and I've mentioned that, but the two of you ought to talk. And I just want to give him a shout out and Greg Ballard a shout out because they're very recent past presenters and they're in the room today supporting the community, which is awesome. So kudos. Okay, Maria, then Karen.
Yes, going back to those large audiences, I was thinking if you have reached out to business coaches and talking podcasts. Now that I see Greg with all his gear, I think we also spoke with the presenter from last week. He was also in the coaching and peer groups. I think that people that have that are in that, they have your people. So just being a guest speaker there will be bring that that audience, that reach that you're looking for.
Thank you.
Karen.
Thank you. So I had a question. You showed in your presentation about a subscription service is what you were going for. I know that it's very popular these days to have subscription services, but one of my hesitations around that is if somebody's going in and doing a subscription, is their product truly something somebody's going to use over time? Like, is this something that I'm using each month? Or is this something that really is I come in and it's a one and done? I come in, I get the advice, and then I go away and do it. Then a subscription to me is not in alignment with that kind of experience. So I wanted to just verify, what is it about your product that is an ongoing kind of experience versus a come in and a one and done?
It is a great question, and I'm glad you asked that question. So, what I'm presenting today is 10% of what this platform will offer. It's just the beginning. And so, what I have now is literally a Kanban list of features that will offer holistic services for small businesses, from an administrative, from ideation to execution. And that is marketing. One of the founders I met with yesterday suggested sales. So he is struggling with sales and he would like to add AI to his sales funnel. And he said, I think your platform can do that. And so I have a requirements from him on that. And so during this prototype phase, what I'm looking to do is not just to validate the strategy and execution portion, but what other problems can this platform solve? Like the founder who mentioned sales. And then as customers use it, I build out more capability. And so the MVP is the strategy and execution, but this will far exceed that.
Thank you.
My
So,
pleasure.
Melinda, I know your hand is up. I'm going to jump in. Going back to getting the first 100, you mentioned you have the initial 10 to 15, which is awesome. So each of them has a friend.
Yes.
Okay, so now we got 20 to 30. Now
Yes.
each of that next group has a friend or half a friend, and now we're up to 45. And I wonder whether that kind of internal from the bottom up approach over the next 6 months to get your 5 months to January, get you the beginning of the core, and maybe you're at 300 by January already, just by talking among your friends and colleagues and try this.
Yes.
And reinforce it with, let's call them focus groups, but what you need feedback from the first 10 so
Yes.
that your outreach is about pain and outcomes.
Yes.
So the GovCon client or the cryotherapist who now has more revenue because of partnerships it created, that's a story that can be shown.
Okay.
So no answer needed. Melinda, then Greg, and then we'll probably go to wrap.
Thank you, John.
You bet.
The last thing, and I think we're all saying it a different way. If you were to put a group of ambassadors together that can help, you can't do this by yourself. And you're at that stage, and you'll have to figure out a way to reward them. Maybe you help them and then they help other people. I mean, that usually works because you want to give back when you get the help. And if you can identify people that have that same drive and different types of backgrounds that you don't have that can actually bring in other industries you haven't considered and I don't know what you call them, but I use the word ambassadors.
I
But
like that.
you can call them think tankers. I don't know.
Yeah,
Good.
You can get
I
cute with
love that.
But
Greg's up.
next person.
Hey, so Milanee, I again, I'm not sure. I'm half in and half out. So if you had already addressed this, I do apologize. But for those that do test your product, right, and that go and have an experience, do you have a formalized process to capture their feedback? Do you have like a survey form, or have you created anything that you can capture? Are you gonna say, look, I'm gonna give you 30 days to use this, but I'm gonna ask for a 15-minute phone call? So
Yes.
on the back end, have you designed or structured anything to get the data back? And this is something that I've often done. So if you don't have that and you'd like to workshop or brainstorm it, I'd be happy to spend a few minutes with you to do so.
Thank you, Greg. I appreciate that. Yeah, yes, my goal is to send a survey, but I find that one-on-one time is better because then they can share their ideas and I can ask questions, open-ended questions, and obtain additional information that I wouldn't otherwise have. So what I would like to do is both a survey that is digital, but also that one-on-one time because I can hear additional pain points that I could target for future development.
Excellent.
So
Jim,
if
I'm sorry.
it's not already in there, when people enroll or download, ask them to agree or commit to doing one or the other.
I will. That's a great idea.
So there's a value exchange, right? There's a value exchange. You're just not giving it for free. You're like, you have access because I want your input. And they can choose at what scale, either a automated survey that gets
Yeah.
pushed out or a debrief call one-on-one with you.
That's a great idea. Thank you very much.
Mr. Lawson, I see your hand is up. I
This
think
is going
you're
to
taking
real quick.
control.
Yes, I am going to take control, John, but I am going to make one final comment on that. One thing you might want to do is get a target list of 100 companies, go in and actually create a fictitious report based on that company with people have got similar problems. But you could create and then send them and say, this is just an idea of how the system can actually help. Would you like to have a further conversation? Right? You could get their email, could go, listen, here's what we've done. This is just a rough idea, but here's the other things that we can do. Would you be open to having a conversation around this and see what kind of feedback you get? Okay, I am going to share my screen and we are going to wrap this up because, you've all got lives and stuff. Hopefully everybody can see that screen. So we have had some great questions. We've seen and given some good guidance. The final question, Milanee, is this. What else can the 1 Million Cups community help you with today?
Honestly, I will take everyone's feedback and then reach out to individuals directly because I think everyone has already offered support and great advice. And I will take that advice and then meet individually. So I think there's nothing else except for continued partnership and relationship building.
I think you come back to 1 Million Cups every week and you start to develop relationships here. And there's enough brain power in this group to help you get to that next stage for sure. 100%.
Thank you very much.
So next week's presenter, I'm excited for this. Branding, marketing, sales mini workshop. Now, some background. Jen Dalton, John Rutenberg, and Melinda Sago all did a presentation on sales for John. Melinda did marketing and Jen did branding. All different weeks. We're going to bring them all back in and they're going to do a quick review summary of what they did. It's going to be very, very cool. I'm very excited for this. And that is wrapping up our series on what we call the know, like, and trust, right? This intentional way to assess and evolve your lead generation approach. Very cool. So if you're here now, come back next week. It's going to be a blast. Upcoming events. I am not going to go through all of these. What I am, excuse me, that was. I am not going to go through these. I am going to take these and I'm going to drop them in chat. So all the links are there. So if you want to go check anything out, you can. I'll do that right at the very end. So give me just a couple more minutes. Presenter schedule, as I said, we've got the town hall next week. August 27th at virtual, Layla and Alyssa with an update on Wave. So one of the things we like to do, we're presenters, is once you've presented, is come back in maybe 90 to 120 days and let us know you've gone. Like, what progress did you make? Did you take any advice? Or did you just go home and go, I'll do it my way anyway? Whatever works. But we'd like you to come back and let us know exactly how you're getting on in your business. And then obviously September, we can see we've got some open slots. So if you're here and you have a business and you would like to get some guidance and some help, let us know and we'll fit you into the schedule and you can be a presenter. Very cool. Always help us spread the word, guys, right? We need your help. All the links can be found in the QR code that you can see on the screen. We just need your help. It's always good when people come to an event, you get to see what it's like. So then you can go and spread the word and let people know, hey, this is something you should come and attend. We're a good group. I think we're a nice group. Pretty fun. And so there you are. So listen, we are a little bit ahead of schedule, which is cool. Stick around for a while. I am going to stop sharing, but I am going to put those events into the chat so you guys can go find them. And chat amongst yourselves. Ask Milanee some more questions or do whatever you want. So,
well, hey, one big update.
Yes, sir.
We do have a presenter for next week, as opposed to we will have our three-way panel in September. I'm sure you're all holding your breath, desperate, but Melinda Siegel is going to present her challenge next week. She has started a new garden club.
Oh, yeah.
And she is going to present her business challenge. So kudos to her.
It's a virtual garden club.
A virtual garden club.
And yeah, I won't give away the challenge question, but if you know anybody who likes gardening, invite them.
Awesome. Thank you.
As well as business.
Well, you know, they say it's